Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Nut House. My name is Cynthia, and here on this channel, we like to share a little glimpse into our life as we live in the country in Georgia. Recently, we made a trip to Woodbury, Georgia, and bought 100 pounds of peaches. If you're close by, this is a great place to be able to get enough peaches to can or freeze, preserve in some kind of way. So, like I said, we bought 100 pounds, and right now we're going to start cutting them up. I'm going to cut them in half, take the seed out, and then I'm going to peel the skin. Now, another way you can do this is to loosen the skins is to get a pot of boiling water, plunge the peaches into that, and then put them in an ice bath, and the skin's supposed to just peel off. I don't know how easy they peel off. I've done plenty of tomatoes that way, but today I decided I would just do it the old-timey way and just peel it by hand. So these peaches were $7 a box. They were $14 buy one get one free. So I paid $28 for 100 pounds. And that's a really good deal here in Georgia. Although we're known, as the peach state, that's still really cheap for us. These were number 2s or 3s. Anyway, that just meant they needed to be used up within a couple days because they were going to ruin if they didn't. And you can find, a lot of people call them seconds. You can ask, do you have any seconds of certain fruits or vegetables? And a lot of times you can get those really cheap, and they're still really good and nothing wrong with them. You may just have to cut off some bad spots, which is okay by me. So how much are peaches in your area? Are you in an area where you can get them for cheap like I am? So on this day, I canned peach jam, peach melba, peach pie filling, sliced peaches. So there were a lot of activities going on in this kitchen, and it was really tiring, but I'll be glad that I did this in the wintertime when I can just pull out a jar and make a pie or one of those dump cakes where you use pie filling and then maybe crushed pineapple and then cover it with a cake mix and some butter. Those are really good with some ice cream. If you haven't tried it, that's a really good recipe to try. I love peaches. It's actually my favorite fruit to eat, and I couldn't tell you how many pieces that I snuck and ate while I was doing this, cutting up the peaches. Now, if you don't want your peaches to brown fast, I would go ahead and add about 3/4 of a cup of bottled lemon juice to your pan and a gallon of water, cold water, and I would let those peaches sit in that until you're done, especially when you're working with a high amount or a high quantity of peaches. You will want to let those sit in that lemon juice so they won't turn that ugly brown color. Sometimes I work really fast at it and don't do a whole lot of peaches at a time, and that way I don't have to really use the lemon juice, but that is an option if you want to make sure it's not going to brown. Now, don't be alarmed at the amount of sugar that is going in this pot. 7 cups of sugar is going to be added into this pot, along with, let's see, 2 cups plus 3 tablespoons of the cook style or the cook type clear gel. Now, I've been told you can't can with cornstarch, but I know plenty of people who do, so you do what you want to do on that. We're going to mix these together. 7 cups of sugar, 2 cups plus 3 tablespoons of clear gel, and then we're going to add 5 1/4 cups of cold water. We're going to mix that up, and then I'm going to let this simmer on low until it starts to thicken, maybe medium at the most, because this is sugar, you do not want it to scorch, so you don't want to do it on a really high setting. For one thing, you need a really thick bottomed pan, and you'll notice when toward the end of the video I really should have used a bigger pot, but this is the biggest one that I have. I really need to look into getting a really heavy duty bottom pot that is for jam, but right now we're going to use what we have. So I'm going to just stir this continually so that it does not scorch, and I want it to thicken into a kind of thick gel. You'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and get the lemon juice ready. This is going to go into the thickened pie filling before we add the fruit. We're going to use 1 cup of bottled lemon juice. Now, you don't want to use fresh because the acidity in fresh lemon juice varies. So you'll want to use the bottled where it has been tested at the right acidity level, and that's because we're canning this and we don't want it to ruin. So we have to do everything we can to make sure that we don't lose the product. We hate to go through all of this trouble and then our jars ruined. That would be a waste of time and a waste of money. I also wanted to mention, there to your right, you'll see, or there to my right, you'll see my steam canner. This is what I use instead of the water bath canner. Now, if you have a water bath canner or you have a big stock pot with something you can put on the bottom to do your jars with, you can use that as well. The timing is the exact same. But this steam canner allows me to use less water in the bottom of the pan, and we just fill it up to the grooves. But right now I have a bunch of different sizes, pints, I have quarts, I even have some pasta jars that I saved from store-bought pasta sauce, and I also have some jelly jars that I saved from the store-bought jelly, and those can all be reused and water bath canned or steam can. Now, I would not pressure can in those because I'm just not sure if it can withhold the pressure and not break, and the last thing I want is for it to break and I waste it all. So I have my jars in this canner, and they're hot and sterilized, so everything needs to be the same temperature. Hot jars, hot pie filling, hot canner for the pie filling. That's how we're going to make sure that our pie filling lasts a long time in these jars, so and not spoil. So here I turned up my temperature just a little bit, and I'm continually going to stir, because if I don't, then it's going to scorch the bottom and I'm going to have to start all over. So just be patient, stand and stir it, switch hands when one arm gets tired, and when it thickens, then we'll add the lemon juice. Now, you can also do this with blueberries, cherries, apple, and make all of these pie fillings. That way, if you have company come over or you have to go somewhere and take a dish, or, there's a new baby being born and you want to take them a dessert, or someone's sick, you can feed their family, you would have an instant dessert ready for you. All you need to do is put it in a pie shell and bake it for like 20 minutes. So now it has thickened up nicely. I'm going to add the 1 cup of lemon juice, and then I'm going to boil it for 1 minute, and I'm going to time this. So I'm going to let this boil for 1 minute, and then we will add in our peaches. So now I'm going to add the peaches in. The recipe says 6 quarts of peaches. However, I didn't really adhere to that, as you can tell. I added way too many peaches for this pot. I really needed a bigger one. But anyway, it worked out, and all the jars sealed, so we're good on that. So I'm going to get this into the pot and try not to spill everything out the sides. We're going to let this boil for an additional 3 minutes, and then we're going to start jarring up our pie filling. So now we're going to get our hot jars and put our hot pie filling into those jars. And this can get quite messy, but that's okay. I'm really messy in the kitchen anyway. As you can tell, I will make a big mess, but I do clean up all of my own messes. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and leave a 1-inch headspace, and that just means to the bottom lip of that jar. I don't want it any higher than that because it might bubble up and make my seal fail. So I'm going to leave that 1-inch headspace, and I'm going to use a little chopstick or something. You can use a case knife, whatever, and debubble the jar. Debubble make sure all the bubbles are out, and then we're going to clean it with a damp paper towel or cloth of some sort. Now you can put vinegar on the cloth and clean it, but I think I'm using some hot water here. But you do want to make sure that it's really clean where that lid is going to touch that jar. So I'm going to go over it a couple times just to make sure there's nothing on those rims, so it won't mess up my seal. We're going to get the lids and the rings on, get them back in my steam canner, and then I'm going to can them for 30 minutes. Now, if you're doing a water bath canner, you do the exact same thing, and you wait till it fully boils, and when it's boiling, you start your timer for 30 minutes. And if you have any questions for me and I'm not covering something well, be sure to leave a comment down below. I will definitely answer your questions. I'd love to hear from you, actually. So just leave me a comment down below and ask me anything you need to know. Now you can see I'm using the Smucker's jar from some, I think it was strawberry jelly. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that down, and I'm going to do the same thing and let this can for 30 minutes as well. And that way I didn't have to use a lid or buy any new lids. I like to keep several of these on hand for my peaches and other fruits that I'm canning in a water bath canner. I don't do a lot of water bath canning, only really fruits. I know some people do water bath for like 3 hours for meats and stuff. It's not USDA approved, and I know that some of you have done that for years, and that's fine. I just choose not to, because pressure canning to me is just so easy. I just stick it in the pressure canner for the amount of time, and I really don't have to babysit it because I'm using the electric canner. I do have a stovetop canner that I use also, so like when we get in big bunches of green beans, I'll have the stovetop canner going and the electric canner, because we like to preserve as much fresh ingredients as we can. It saves us so much on our grocery bill, and there's really nothing like fresh food that you've canned yourself. If you've never done that before, you should really try. It is so much better to can it yourself. Like I said before, these are going to go in my steam canner for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to pull them out, and they're going to sit on my countertop for 24 hours. Then I'll remove the ring, and I'm going to check that seal and make sure everything is sealed. And all of these sealed perfectly well. Here's a jar of one of them, and there is a delicious peach pie. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you on the next one.